那暗时咱的菜店传师要甲咱慈悲要继续讲解太上清净经的内容。Master John, Master Tian, and Master Chai, and all parties, good evening. Tonight, our Master Chai will once again provide us with her compassionate guidance on the continuation of the meaning of the scripture of purity and stillness in Chinese is 太上清净经。咱就来邀请咱的菜点传师慈悲示导。Now let us invite our Master Chai for her compassionate guidance. 请算算助理翻译。
各位道亲好暗暝。
Good evening, everybody.
头先感谢天文师弟，感谢祖父皇族，感谢师尊师庙在地，感谢老前人甲各位点传师慈悲在地。谢我今仔有这个机会，踮咧遮甲各位前贤在地做伙来学习太上清净经，互咱今仔讲第4节课。
Thank you, the heavens grace, and to teachers virtue, and to our Sichuan and Simu, and also thank you to our Lao Tian Chuan Si and for everybody for giving us tonight this chance to continue with our study and in the learning of the discussion of Tai Sang Qing Jing Jing. Tonight, we are on our 4th session of the discussion of the scripture of purity and stillness.
未讲新的迄个章节以前咱已经读过用普通话来给我宣念一下
So before we proceed with the next chapter, let us read first what we have taken a few weeks ago.
咱听看卖甲迄个音记起来无需要对念就好念一摆就好
Tian Chuan Si will read it for us. Let us all listen very well and let us remember its pronunciation of each character.
太上清净经，导君曰：大道无形，生育天地；大道无情，运行日月；大道无名，长养万物。吾不知其名，强名曰道。夫道者，有清有浊，有动有静。天清地浊，天动地静。男清女浊，男动女静。降本流末，而生万物。清者浊之源，动者静之基。人能常清净，天地悉皆归。夫人神好清，而心扰之；人心好静，而欲牵之。常能遣其欲，而心自静；诚其心，而神自清。自然六欲不生，三毒消灭。所以不能者，为心未诚，欲未全也。能遣之者，内观其心，心无其心；外观其行，行无其行；远观其物，物无其物。三者既无，唯见于空。这有一个顿叫远观其物，迄个其是其他一个其。那么许简单甲咱已经读过随踮咧遮搁念一摆希望各位道亲要用国语的安尼看这点应该记起来。那么
So our Tian Chuan Si has already read the part of the scripture which we have already discussed in the few lectures before, and Tian Chuan Si hopes that we can all listen very well and remember how it is pronounced.
那么过来要讲新的章节讲转去咱顶礼拜五讲到 三者俱无，唯见于空。哈，三者既无，唯现于空。哈，讲到遐，咱即摆要继续讲线落去。
So tonight we are going to continue where we left off last week.
啊，讲线咧，即几节咯，就是咱即摆无概念无，咱一段一段来解解说伊的意思。咱这一个那个投影片不要放，下一个投影片。好，第一开始哈。观空亦空，空无所空。哈，这句就是接咱顶礼拜迄个三者俱无，唯见于空。接来搁刷落去，就是这两句。用国语念叫做观空亦空，空无所空。用福建话念就是观空亦空，空无所空。这两句的意思，这八字的意思就是讲，咱顶礼拜说讲，咱要爱咧迄个去除咱的欲望的时阵咧，咱就爱经过这个内观、外观、甲远观这三种观以后咧，咱就会去了悟到这个空。那么咱了悟到空以后咧，咱嘛是刷落去，咱嘛是想要去观察这个空理。甲观察这个空以后咧，咱会发觉讲，观空这项代志嘛是一种空。
So when observing emptiness from the standpoint of emptiness, one will realize that emptiness is also a void. Then comes the realization that everything is empty and that there is nothing left to be emptied out. So after introspection, and after also observing from afar, we then understand and realize that the voidness. Then next, we will also want to view and observe this voidness. And after observing this voidness, we will realize that the voidness is also a form of void.
咱的心经过这款的观察的过程会到发觉讲，咱的心肝内底已经无什么心物啦，无什么本质通好来变空啊。
So when our heart goes through this process, we will find out that our heart has no more conception on the mind or on the matter, and that there is no more rubbish to be emptied out.
这个观空亦空头一句，这个空理咧，是一个名词，一个名词。第二句空无所空，这两字空理咧，这个是一个动词，就是讲解清空、变空的意思。
So the word kong in the first phrase is used as a noun, and the word kong in the second phrase is used as a verb, which means to clean or to empty out.
咱用杯仔来譬如咱的心嘛，咱这个杯仔若满的时阵咧，咱若想要讲要倒一个清气的水来啉的，咱一定要甲杯仔本来内面有的迄款物件、迄款饮料，甲拼淡煞，拼到杯仔内底空甲无些物件通好空的时阵咧，咱才有法度甲这个清气的水，这 pure water 甲倒落去这杯仔内底。咱的心肝嘛同款，咱要爱心肝内面拢是清气的，咱在心嘛爱甲迄个心肝内底迄寡本来有迄寡偏见啦，还是讲成见啦，还是讲一寡比较的心顶，即寡毋是正确的心咧，甲变清气，咱才有法度搁放一寡光明的物件、善良的物件。
So we may use a cup as an example. The cup represents the heart. When the cup is full and the content of this cup is not the pure water that we wanted, then we need to pour out the original and pure content in the cup and make the cup empty to the point that there is nothing left to empty. Now, it's only now that we can pour the clean water that we want into the cup. The same goes with our heart and our mind, that we should first clear out the impure thoughts within our mind because our mind is full of impurities, we need to cleanse it and make it very clear and clean. And we have to clean out all the pride and prejudice, all the negative thoughts in our heart, so that we can be able to put in the new concepts and ideas into our heart.
下一张，下一个投影片，哦，所空即无，无无亦无，哦，这个所空即无就是讲，吼、咱所空即无，无无亦无，这个所空即无就是讲，咱应该清空的已经啊变甲无啊，心肝内底本座拢无啊，吼、这个甲心肝，这个本座变无这项代志，也无啥必要咯，吼、无必要讲什么叫做无心嘛，什么叫做无形啊，什么叫做无物咯，吼。那么这个咱所讲那个变吼，无这个阶段，咱就用袂到啊，无需要咯。
When emptiness becomes nothing, then nothingness should also be reduced into nothing or empty. Since there is nothing left to be emptied, then at this stage, the act of letting the rubbish out is no longer needed, because the body and the mind is already free of impurities. There is no need to say anything about being mindless, formless, or void of content.
再来下一句就是说，无无即无，湛然常寂。哦，用咱福建话念就是说，无无即无，淡然常寂。这句的意思讲，既然无需要一直咧讲这个无咯，无需要去无咯，吼，这个时阵，咱的心是非常的清澈，而且是非常的安静。
So without attachment to the existence of the nothingness, one can achieve a profound state of constant tranquility. Since there is no need to deliberately talk about voidness, our hearts are very clear and often very peaceful at this time.
这个淡然常寂，吼，湛然常寂哦。这个湛然天然的意思就是讲，非常的清澈、通透，会当看到下底，会当看到上内面。
And the word 湛然 in English means profound. It means very clear and very transparent, that we can be able to see through up to the very bottom.
上这边的上就是讲常啊，还是讲定，还是讲永远，吼，迄无什么大家会了解。这个寂理咧，就是讲一个吼，咱这个内心吼，一个绝对安静的迄个状况。寂这个字哦，一个修道的中啊，咱看道书定来看到这个字。伫咧遮咧，寂是一个形容词，吼，形容讲咱内心绝对的安静。
So 常寂, 常 means constant or unchanging, and the word ji in English means absolute silence or stillness. The word ji or silence is often used in the cultivation of Tao, and silence here is used as an adjective. It describes an absolute inner serenity or peace of mind.
下一张哈，这个安静哦，安哦，那静哦。来，我们看下一个投影片，下一个 PPT。哦，寂无所寂，欲岂能真？吼，伊讲寂无所寂，吼，欲去灵心吼。这个内面吼用连续用寂两字吼，这个寂吼叠加吼一个动词，寂无所寂的甲迄个顶两句所说迄个空无所空吼，这句吼，伊的写法甲语法是相同的。空无所空是讲变空变到无啥物个怎我变空。寂无所寂就是讲安静到无啥物平静，搁较安静。
So once the state of tranquility reaches its limit, how can desire arise? The repeated use of the word "ji" or silence is a verb or an action word. 吉无所及 means when silence or the state of tranquility has reached its ultimate limit, while 空无所空 means when emptiness has reached the point that there is no more or nothing left to be emptied out. So they are both the same and both expresses the same thought.
咱来知讲即味吼是，其实就是讲安静啦，这绝对的安静。不过咱来注意安静这个词吼，这个词吼，唔是讲这个静字吼，安就是讲当然是讲心肝的安啦，心的静吼，才叫做安静。啊，什么叫做静呢？唔是讲咱耳孔无声音互咱听到，才叫做静啊，唔是吼。这个吼静字，咱较注意看迄个。迄个咱人力的构造，伊倒手边是一个青色的青，正手边是一个精正经的精，那么这个精的意思就是讲，咱心肝内底无迄个挣扎，那是叫做精。
So the word 安静 means quiet or being peaceful. In Chinese, we can see that the word 静, there is a part, the right part of it is 争, which means struggle or dispute. Peace here can be achieved when there is peace of mind and the heart is kept calm. And it may also be achieved when there is no dispute or argument or conflict.
静毋是讲无声音，咱耳孔无听到声音叫做静，是咱心肝内底吼无迄个良心甲人心迄交战啊，迄个战争，迄个是叫做静。
So when we say 静, it doesn't mean that we are already in the state of silence when our ear is hearing nothing. When there is no noise that we can hear, there is silence, but there is no peace. So when the word 静 that is used here means that we are having a quiet and peaceful mind, that there is no dispute or no argument or conflict between our conscience and our human mind.
咱来譬如做一项代志，会想讲我安尼做，唔知对得起我的良心也袂，而且对得起道德也袂，迄就是咱诶。人心甲天心的交战的战争。
So when we are trying to do something and then we are asking ourselves that when I do this certain thing, can my conscience be at a peaceful state, or if I will feel guilty in doing this thing? So that is always the conflict or the argument that we have within ourselves.
那么，咱来安静的时阵呢，咱根本就袂去想讲我安尼做对啊，唔做，咱做就一定是拢照良心去做，会照咱的迄个本性去做。这个时阵是上安静的，心上安静的。
So when we are peaceful, it means that we are doing things in accordance to our conscience, that there is no more conflict within us. That is the time when we can achieve perfect quietness or peacefulness.
所以即无所即就是讲，咱安静甲无啥物个品质，个较安静咯。是说讲，咱的心肝安甲拢总照咱的良心本性去做代志。
So, 寂无所寂 means that our heart is already at a very, very quiet state. That there is nothing more for us, nothing more to be troubled about. That our conscience is already at a good state, and that we are doing things in accordance to our values.
咱咧这边只纯粹来研究这个积味吼，这个积味吼呐，佮加一个原理咧，叫做原积。
So also let us talk about the word 积. The word 积, when we add a word 缘, it means 缘积。
缘积什么意思咧？就是讲有修行的高僧缘积啊，就是讲伊圆满啊，安静啊。
So 缘积 in English means when a person, especially when the cultivator passes away, Yuan Ji means that he is already at a very peaceful state, that he has already passing away with peaceful rest.
所以原籍哦，原籍等于就是咱道中定来说，也是讲咱读迄个经典定来看到，哦，成道也好啦，涅槃也好啊，归空也好啊，原籍也好啊，拢总三三。
So Yuan Ji, just like just like the words used for a cultivator, when the cultivator passes away, we may say that he is already enlightened or has already reached the state of nirvana or has returned to emptiness. So this is the same as the word Yuan Ji. They all mean the same.
啊，咱普通人过身的死亡的叫做过身下世。
So for an ordinary person, when he dies, we say that he already died, and it is called death.
啊，有少个人啦，死去咱就讲伊是归空啦，还是成道啦，还是讲原籍啦，还是涅槃啦。
While for the passing away of a cultivated person, it is said that he has already returned to emptiness, or he has already reached enlightenment, or he's already at perfect rest, or has achieved nirvana.
好，咱伫顶面遮说到这职务所及的时阵哦，顺续来讲到这个原籍。
So because we are discussing about the word ji, that is why we are also discussing the word yuan ji.
后来下一个投影片，一张哦。咱讲职务所及，欲气灵性，就是讲咱的心吼已经到啊一个吼甘然上集这款的安静、清澈、通透的状况的时阵呢，咱的思欲难道就生会出来无？生袂出来咯。
So once the state of tranquility has reached its absolute limit, how can desire arise at this stage?
后来刷落去迄句就是讲吼，欲意不生，即是真经。吼，过去念做欲寂不生，即是真境。吼，伊的意思就是说讲，一个人若无随便生出私欲，这就是正的经咯。
欲寂不生，即是真境 means if desire does not arise, that is true tranquility.
啊，心内袂静呢，就是因为吼私欲受过妄生，这个也袂，迄个也袂，这个时阵哦，咱就是擦啊，心肝就是擦啊。
So if one does not generate selfish desires, this is the real stillness. Because of the strong selfish desire of the human beings, the heart becomes restless. We always think that I want this and I want also that. We want everything to own everything. And now at this time, our heart is like a thief.
啊，咱拄好4月15吼，内底你讲3月15，内底迄日咯，拄多是圣周，咱圣周拄多过。啊，敬拜若圣周的时阵吼，拢会放一寡耶稣蒙咱的电影。
So the Holy Week has just passed, and during the Holy Week, we oftentimes can see from the television the films about the passion of the Jesus Christ.
啊，耶稣往顶的是离家的时阵哦，毋是干那伊一个人往顶死啊尔，伊边嘛有2个人。
So in the passion of Jesus Christ, we can see that when Jesus was crucified, he was not alone. There were 2 people next to him and who were also crucified.
那么这2个人呢是啥物啊？是贼仔。
And these 2 people are the thieves.
啊，那么如果耶稣呢代表咱人类的迄个本性，那么迄个妄性的私欲就是咱的贼仔咯。伊甲咱偷走咱的良知良灵。
So if Jesus Christ represents the human being's true self, our true nature, then the exuberant selfish desire is the thief that steals away our conscience from us. and making us do bad things.
嘿，对吼，伊甲咱偷走咱的良知良能。咱即马咧，咱因为咱知影讲要安怎，互咱的心清净，知影讲要安怎诚心潜欲，要安怎格物致知，吼，啊，咱安尼修啊修到私欲无生啊，即个时阵良知良能做咱的真主人的时阵呢，做咱的耶稣的时阵呢，那么咱就是。正安静啊。
And if we can cultivate up to the point when desire can no longer be generated, it is the time that our conscience becomes our real master. Our conscience becomes our Jesus Christ. And it is only then that we will truly be quiet and peaceful.
哦，耶稣是上帝囝。
Jesus is the Son of God.
啊，咱的本性嘛是上帝囝。
And our conscience is also the Son of God.
啊，只有咱登去迄个恰住即心的，咱就才有法度正安静。
So it is only when we can return back to our original heart that we can achieve quietness or tranquility.
好，所以说欲计不生，即是精进吼；欲计不生，即是真静。啊，这是老主甲咱，互咱的一个真好的教训。
So that is why it says that if desire does not arise, then we can achieve tranquility. That is what Lao Tzu is telling us.
啊，下一个投影片，下一张啊，过来刷落去吼，四句吼，真常应物，真常德性，常应常静，常清净矣。用福建话念的。 真常应物，真常德性，常应常静，常清净义。这个真就是讲无假，这个常呢就是不变，真常就是咱的本性。假使咱平常时啊，应该用咱的良知良能本性来应对每一个状况。 各种的代志，各种的突发状况呢，拄到的时阵呢，爱互这个咱的良知良能做主宰。那么这个无假无变的，就是咱的本性。代志来啊，敢若一面镜，把这个代志甲伊照出来，啊，咱照咱的本性，照咱应该做去处理。代志过去咯，无甲迄个镜共款，无甲迄个物件甲留喺镜内底。 无甲迄个代志留喺心内底，安尼时阵，咱的心就永远提起，搁放的，提起搁放的中啊，人无变，定得遐尼安静。这个时阵呢，就是无变的，永远的安静咯。
So with true tranquility, one can go along with all things. With true permanence, one can realize the inner true nature. When one can go along with all things constantly and can be tranquil forever, in this way, purity and tranquility will also be permanent. Zhen, which means real, means absolutely true and not false. It is constant and unchanging. Our true self is absolutely real and constant. We should regularly use our conscience, our true nature, in dealing with the various situations and various events, various emergencies that may take place. Our conscience can be our master whenever we encounter special situations. The absolutely true and unchanging, it is our true self. When the situation arises, it reflects the way things look like just as in a mirror, and we respond to it according to our Buddha nature. And when the situation is over, no traces will be left. Just like the mirror, it shows traces when we go in front of it. When we leave the mirror will return to its clear state. No traces of the previous image will be left in it. When this is practiced, our heart that struggles between a series of taking in and letting go, taking in and letting go, may still remain unchanged and will forever be peaceful.
OK，咱做任何代志的时阵，咱头一个阶段就是面对。
So whenever we are faced with different situations, the first thing that we should do is to face the situation.
第二个阶段呢，就是接受、接受。
And the next thing we should do is to accept the situation.
第三个阶段就是处理。
And the third is to find a way to find a way to solve the situation.
第四个阶段就是放下。
And the next is to let go.
安尼就有法度常应常静、常清净。
And if we can do this, then we can achieve tranquility constantly.
不管这个代志和咱偌大刺激，咱就是按照这个面对、接受、处理、放下这款的迄个过程，安尼，互咱的心去应对每一项代志，嘛有法度，互咱伫应付每一项代志以后咧，平心静气来放下。
So whenever we meet situations, we should face it, and then we should accept the situation. We should find a way, and then we should peacefully let it go.
安尼，咱的人生吼，拄到偌大的迄个状况，咱都有法度接受，我去处理，嘛有法度恢复迄个清净。
So no matter how hard the situation may be that we are facing, our heart will not really be affected by it, because we now know how to let go and to achieve peacefulness.
好，那下一章。过来，咱就讲吼，照拄啊，差不多接落去说，就是讲，咱安尼照呢清净以后吼，如此清净，接入真道，记入真道，名为得道。吼，你就讲啊，咱安尼会晓安尼，生拄啊，毋是讲咱要静，就是吼，感觉因拜迄个红阳啊是青阳的时阵咧修道，为着要静，就是爱离开迄个。 咱的家庭啊，离开咱这个社会去深山哪来去修，才叫清净，毋是正清净的，就是爱参与咱拄啊安尼说，面对、接受、处理、放下，吼，伫静中会当动，动中会当静，安尼切换自如，袂去执着着，这才是正的清净。
So when within such a pure and tranquil state, one will gradually enter the true Tao. Since one has already entered into true Tao, one can be regarded as having acquired the Tao. In this way, one can have movements while in stillness, and can have stillness when in motion, and can switch freely without being attached at all. This is tranquility. To be able to be quiet without the need of hiding into the mountains or the forest, just like what the ancient people was doing, we have no need to be isolated from the world, and one can then gradually enter into the threshold of true Tao.
毋是讲咱稳固去诶深山哪来吼，甲人安尼世间诶人安尼隔开来吼，安尼孤立起来吼。 安尼咧叫做修道，毋是吼，咱就会晓安尼，什么迄个世间内底，什么俗世内面吼，安尼处理任何诶代志，但是保持心内迄个平静，迄个良心本性，安尼去处理每一项代志，安尼叫做修身养性。
So it doesn't mean that we have to go and be isolated from other people, that we have to be alone forever. So that we can cultivate. It means that in our situation right now, we have to face different things that happens in the society, and still we have to maintain our peacefulness using our true conscience.
安尼咧修身养性，咱渐渐进入真道啊。
So that when we can do this using our true self in cultivate, then we can enter into true Tao.
哈，到有一天咱机缘成熟咧，自然就有迄个神佛，吼，上天会派神佛，啊，就讲咱即马派因波师啦，吼，因拜是派神佛，来甲因引进入去真道内底，安尼才叫做得道。
So if we can do so, and when the opportune moment comes, then in the past they say that it is the immortals or the Buddhas will naturally come and lead us into Tao. But today, it is our guarantor or an introducer who will come and lead us to receive Tao.
因拜是吼，咱即马是因波师，也是讲我哋点传出在内底，会带咱去得道嘛。因拜神佛来，譬如说，咱迄个中国叫做八仙过海嘛，内面有一个昆道何仙姑，何仙姑就是个足真诶莲花咧，如动兵来度伊。
So before today, we have our guarantor and introducer, and also our Tian Chuan Si, who will come to lead us to receive Tao and to know about Tao. But before, take for an example of He Xian Gu. He Xian Gu is one of the 8 mortals. She has cultivated to the point of real tranquility, and when the moment come, when the right time come, it was Li Tongping who came to enlighten her.
这个就是因拜青龙红阳期的时阵得道的过程啊，因拜叫做先修到真正啊，尾来去得到道，先修后得。
This is the enlightenment process in the previous green yang period and the red yang period. This is one. It means that one have to first cultivate perfectly before one can attain the Tao.
所以讲，记入真道，名为得道。吼，但是讲记入真道，吼，点咱入去真道咯。这个过程吼，人家带入去真道内面吼，这个如当兵带迄个和仙姑入来真道吼，那么和仙姑得到道吼，这个意思。
So just like the phrase that we mentioned before, which says that since one has entered into the true Tao, then one can be regarded as having acquired Tao. Just like in the case of He Xian Gu, he was led by Li Tongping into receiving the true Tao.
那李洞宾真有名吼，李洞宾到即马嘛足有名，到即马咱咧办道吼，咱10摆啦，迄个大典咧请单啦，是讲咧办道的时阵，点啊念着讲关帝基座顺良优，那么迄个顺良就是李洞宾。
Li Tongping was a great scholar with great knowledge, and he was very well known and popular. Even today, during our ceremonies, when we have the Qingtan, we will always hear our Tian Chuan Si say, 官地居左，纯阳右. The 纯阳右 is referring to Li Tongping.
这官地居左，纯阳右，这个意思啊，官地基座顺良优，这个意思就是讲吼。咱若请单的时阵迄个上手一位咧是官法律主啦，倒手边一位下手一位咧是律法律主吕洞宾。那伊到即嘛嘛是讲真正拍拼，为着即个互人得道，去做即个遮尔拍拼的工作。
So when we say 官地居左，纯阳右, it is when we have ceremonies. 官地 is 官圣帝君. He will always come and stay at the right side. And 纯阳右 is Li Tongping. He will also come and stay at the left side of our Lao Bunyu. And then they are both still striving and doing very hard to help sentient beings to receive Tao.
那么吕洞宾伊入来真道，会当得到道，迄嘛是有神父来甲伊引进，嘛是伊修啊真清净，有神父来甲伊引进，才会得道。
And so, since Li Tongping was the one who enlightened He Xian Gu, so who enlightened Li Tongping? Li Tongping was also led by another saint into receiving Tao. He was also, Li Tongbing has also cultivated and up to the point when he was already having perfect stillness or perfect tranquility, that another saint came to lead him into the true Tao.
卢东斌咧吼，咱卢先祖是一个吼读册人，吼嘛是真安静的读册人。不过伊本来是想要读册读到真多以后咧，来去考状元，来去做官，来光宗耀祖，互伊的家庭会当 glory。
So Li Tongbing was a person with great knowledge, and he was a person with perfect quietness. He was a very quiet person, but he was very well studied, that he aimed to take the government exam so that he can later become a government official, so that he may give pride and glory to his family.
这个吼，来到伊这个神父叫做嘛是北京内面的一个神吼，叫做汉钟离。
And the saint who came to help him receive Tao or to enter into the true Tao is also one of the 8 immortals, Han Zhongli.
汉钟离观察到讲，这个卢东斌这个人吼，伊本性真好，嘛是真正的一个人吼，就吼找一个机会，什么机会咧？有一摆卢东斌搁要去考状元咯，徛伫个一间 pension house 内底，因两个徛共一间房间，徛在客栈内底，互因两个人徛共一间房间。
So Han Zhongli was the one who came to introduce to lead Li Tongbing into Tao. And how did they two meet? When the time came that Li Tongbing was about to take the government exam, he has to travel from his hometown up to the place of the exam. So then he stayed in a pension house because, and then his roommate at that time was Han Zhongli.
这汉钟离吼，看伊个卢东斌吼，读册读的淡薄夜深倒落去困。伊未困以前咧，汉钟离哦，就用一个洗一寡黄色的米，黄念就是黄色的米，放水，放喺迄个灶头顶悬，要煮一鼎饭来食。
So Han Zhongli observed that Li Tongbing was a very good person with good character and good nature. So he wanted to help him into receiving Tao. So one day, when Li Tongbing was already so tired of studying, he was trying to sleep. And when Han Zhongli saw that Li Tongbing was already going to sleep, he started to prepare a pot and prepared some yellow millets and started to cook them.
那么，这洗米甲煮饭这个米煮无需要真长的时间嘛。
And it wouldn't take a very long time for the millet to be cooked.
但是这个卢东斌就这点内面困去啊。
And Li Tongbing went to sleep during this time when the millet was cooking.
困去以后咧，就精神咧，就看伊讲伊考调状元啊。
And after he went to sleep, he thought that he was awakened, and then he realized that he has already taken the exam and has already passed the exam.
第一个放炮一个恭喜。
And everyone,
跑一个恭喜，然后做官伫小官一直做到真大官。
and everyone was congratulating him, and he started to become a government official and gradually later become a very high government official.
做到尾啊咧，做到一人之下，万人之上的迄个宰相。
And later on, he was even appointed as a prime minister who is just below one person and is above all the others.
爱做愈悬吼，就危险愈大咯。
The higher his position, the more risk there is for him.
结果去互歹人害一个吼，去互迄个皇帝吼生气伊，甲伊判刑判死刑，叫歹人害去哦，冤枉哦判伊死刑啊。
So because of his high position, there were bad people with bad intentions who wanted to pull him down. So they made up stories and told the king about some untrue stories about Li Tongping, and then it caused him to be beheaded by the king.
判死刑你就要去斩头啊，吼，要去斩头，阵仔甲伊带去到迄要斩头迄个所在，刀啊对迄个阿妈棍斩落去，伊感觉讲也疼，怎么一声也疼。
So he was sentenced to be beheaded, and on the day when he was about to be beheaded, he felt that his neck, when the knife touched his neck, he felt the pain, and so he shouted that it is very painful.
伊看见也疼的时阵哦，讲看到家己头已经落落来。
So when he shouted that it was very painful, he saw that his head is already falling down.
疼着就啊精神，
And because of the pain that he felt, he woke up.
精神以后就看甲讲原来伊做一场梦啦，毋是疼到头壳，我呢甲去用针起疼，毋是啦，是伊的迄头壳哦，甲落伫迄个枕头下骹啦，迄疼是疼的啦。
So he woke up because of the pain, and he thought that it was because of his head. He was already beheaded. But as he wake up, he realized that it was just a dream, and that the pain was caused by the fact that his head has fallen out of his pillow and it touched the bed.
这韩中离这个吼，这个盖徛做伙这个 roommate 就来说讲，你看，吼，我安尼煮一顿吼饭的点钟，你做一场梦，这个梦中内面哦，你针对迄个状元做到你头壳互人粘起来咯。
So Han Zhongli, who was observing him and waited for him to wake up, told him, "You see that as I was cooking the millet, you have already went through all the things in a lifetime. You have went through to this beginning to take the exam, and then you became a government official, and then you become a prime minister, up to the point that you were beheaded."
事实上吼，人生吼，安尼荣华富贵吼，敢若亲像黄粱一梦共款。哦，你搁做到偌大官，趁到偌济钱，得到偌悬的地位，嘛敢若先夫咧煮一锅饭遐尼短点钟共那尔啦，敢若做一场梦共三那尔。
So he explained to Li Tongping that life is just like life just takes the time, just like the time when we are cooking a pot of millet. You see, you started to dream when I was trying to cook the millet, and you ended your dream when the millet was already cooked. So during your dream, you have went through all the wealth and success. You had all the money and you had all the power, but in the end, you still have to be beheaded and die.
咱看卖，咱即马一寡世界头一名迄个好野人，个名人男女，因遐尼侪字嘛是共款啊，甲尾后个过世嘛共款是黄粱一梦共款啊。
So as we can observe in the present time, we can see so many people who are millionaires and who are very powerful, but still they will also die in the end. And their life is just like the life that happened in the story of the yellow millet.
那么会晓呢会了悟的人，伊就法度得到真道，会当得到道；啊，袂了悟的人，伊定定嘛是踮遐饲咧无明。
So only those who can understand and be enlightened can understand what life is, and for those who can understand, they will still stay in the life of being of knowing nothing and that looking and running after wealth and success.
下一章，我刷落去。咱拄仔讲吉日进道，名为得道，哈，咱我讲刷落去哈。哦，虽名得道，实无所得，为化众生，名为得道。令我知者可传信道，咱即句讲较长淡薄，吼。咱用国语来念就是说，虽名得道，实无所得，为化众生，名为得道。能悟之者，可传圣道。即句的意思就是讲，吼，咱一般讲得道，得道，即个得的就是讲摕到。一个物件，即个物件吼，得是摕到一个物件啦，物件是看会到的，是有形有相的。但是得到咧，有互咱一个看会到有形有相的物件无，所以讲虽名得到是无所得。
So although we name this stage as the attainment of Tao, we actually acquire nothing. In order to teach and transform the sentient beings easily, it is named as attainment of Tao. So those who can realize this teaching are worthy to transmit the holy path. Generally speaking, when we say that we receive Tao, the word te in English means to get or to obtain. It is to obtain an object that is visible and has a form and image. But since, and it is something that we can hold on to. But as we receive Tao, it is something that we cannot hold and we cannot see.
啊，伫五祖传互六祖得道的时阵吼，迄个五祖阁有传入一领迄个和尚的家世，甲迄个和尚迄个伴。但是五祖当时就交代六祖哦，出去以后袂做咧传任何实质上的物件，因为看袂到的无形的，才是正无价之宝。
So during the time when the fifth patriarch preached to the sixth patriarch Huineng, he passed to him a robe and a ball. And during that time, the fifth patriarch told him that from now on, there should be no tangible things or things that we can hold or touch that is to be passed on to.
所以咱得道的时阵，咱得到啥物啊啦？得到现观啦，吼、合同啦、考决啦，即、个现观、合同、考决，望无嘛看无，吼、实际上讲起来是什么物件嘛无得到，所以讲虽名得道，实无所得。
So because the intangible form is the priceless treasure, so on the day when we receive Tao, we have received the three treasures that we have, but the three treasures that we have received are invisible and they are intangible. It is absolutely void, but it can exist mysteriously.
所以即个观印决吼，即三项物件吼，现观、合同、考决，即三项物件是空的物件，是真空的物件，但是妙有，因为真好运用。
So these three treasures are things that are invisible. We cannot see it, we cannot touch it, but they have very mysterious power that we can use it very easily.
那会当好啊运用咧，会用讲会当得到无边无际的效果。所以咱讲即个物件是真空妙有。
So, and if we can know and how to use it properly, it will be something that will have boundless effects for us. That is why we say that it is intangible, but it has mysterious powers.
所以《西游记》内面，咱读迄个心经的时阵哦，咱知影讲，即个心经呢是玄奘法师去西方印度遐去摕转来。那么《西游记》内面的写安怎呢？唐三宗除了摕到迄款经典以外咧，伊嘛有摕到一部《无离经》转来。
So in the Heart Sutra, we know that Heart Sutra was obtained by Xuanzang when he went to India, and he took the sutra with him coming back. But in the journey to the west, the story of Tang Sanzang, we knew that when he came back, he obtained the sutra with words, and he also obtained the sutra that is wordless.
这个伊个交代讲，这个无理经经比什么经典更加重要。
And he tell us that the scripture that is wordless is much more treasured than anything else.
这个所以咱知影讲无的物件有时阵是比有的物件吼更加宝贵。
So we can understand here that something that is nothing or is void is more precious than things that we can see.
下一张吼，来。伊说甲讲吼，咱拄啊迄个说讲吼，迄个为化众生，名为得道。吼，上天慈悲，咱即寡仙佛吼过来的人吼，伊慈悲吼，为着要度化咱即寡愚痴吼无明的众生，勉强吼，甲即个传道的过程，因为众生是受业的人吼。 以众生的立场，甲说讲是众生得到道。
So God is merciful, and the immortals and Buddhas are also merciful. That in order to save us, the ignorant sentient beings, they reluctantly benefit from the beings. They reluctantly call it Tao in order to be benefited by the beings in the process of propagation of Tao. And from the standpoint of all sentient beings, it claims that the sentient beings have obtained Tao.
得到这两字吼，就是为了要度化众生吼，老祖才甲伊勉强合作得到这两字。
So the word Tao is only used because Lao Tzu wanted us to look to see a word, and that in order to propagate Tao.
那么会当体会到上天、甲老祖、甲诸天神会即款仙佛的即个慈悲的人呢，就法度传予伊即个宝贵的道。
If we can comprehend and understand the mercy of the Buddhas and saints and of Lao Tzu, then these people are the people who can propagate or transmit Tao.
啊，若会当了解上天甲仙佛的迄个慈悲的时阵哦，伊就自然的袂讲甲即个道逆道不现，伊自然就会想办法甲即个道传出去。
And when the people can understand the preciousness and the mercy of the Buddhas and saints, then they will not keep Tao to themselves, and they will try their best to transmit and to let the sentient beings know about Tao.
所以咱十条大愿内面有咧说啊，咱得道以后，袂这里逆道不见，就是要帮助上天的去度化众生，把这道传出去。
So in the 10 vows, when we receive the Tao, there is a phrase said 不可以逆道不现. We cannot keep Tao to ourselves. We have to show it to people and to propagate Tao.
过来下一张。所以读到为化众生这四字，咱就会体会到吼，上诸天神佛伊嘛是有欲望的哦。
So after reading up to the point when we see the 4 words 为化众生, means transforming of sentient beings. When we read this, we can realize that after all, the gods and goddesses also have desires.
因的欲望跟咱的欲望无同款，因的欲望是公欲，毋是私欲，因的欲望是要度化众生。
And their desires are different from our desire. Their desires are desires for the sentient beings, and not selfish personal desires. and their desires are to transform the sentient beings to receive Tao.
所以咱即马读清净经读到遮，咱来知影咱老祖甲咱说讲，咱内心要清净，就爱诚心全欲，爱甲咱迄个私欲甲摕等掉。
So as we go along with our study and discussion of the Qing Jing Jing, we know that we need to have a clear and peaceful mind. We have to clear our mind, we have to dispel our desires, and to get rid of our selfish desires.
那么两餐在课以前，咱有讲着讲吼，咱有诶好人吼，看到人危险啊，咱想要去甲救，啊，即款诶欲望哦，就是私欲哦，即款诶欲望甲良知、甲良心是差不多，甲本性是差不多哦，即款咱无应该去除掉。
So as we have mentioned in our previous lectures, that when we see people who are already in a state of danger, our desire will naturally come that we want to help them and to save them. This is not a selfish desire. This is a desire that is very near to our Buddha nature.
啊，咱有一个结论啊，咱来做一个结论，到遮咱来做一个结论吼。伫个遮吼，就讲即个空啊真重要，所以即个心经甲清净经拢有讲到即个空。
So as a conclusion, let us see that the word kong here, which means voidness or emptiness, is very important. That is why in the Heart Sutra and in the scripture of the purity and tranquility, they also talk a lot about the word voidness or emptiness.
啊，拄啊，咱伫个开班以前吼，迄个放一首光明记吼，咱张老真人写的一个记啊，叫做空明记。伊内面有两字叫做空灵。
So before we started with our lecture, we have a song entitled Guang Ming Ji. It was written by our Zhang Lao Qianren, and there was a word there mentioned, which is空灵. In English, ethereal.
叫咱提起来咱空灵的观念，空灵的观念。
So it tells us that we have to take up our ethereal ideas.
为什么用空灵这两字？就是咱内心空无迄款心物啊，灵感才会来。
So why is it that it has to mention the word ethereal? It is only when we are in the state of being ethereal that inspirations may come, because the heart at this time is already empty. And when it is already empty or void, there will come brightness.
过来下一张，下一张。所以咱用一个故事来做一个简单的故事来做一个结论啦。讲有一个国王咧，要对伊三个囝内面找出一个假新人。
So let us now tell a story to do as a conclusion of our lecture. The story goes that there was a king and he has 3 sons.
伊就互因3个人去带去3间房间，3层面积的3层 area 3层偌大的迄个房间。讲恁对这3间房间做上好的运用，迄个人我就互伊做我的继承人。
So the king took his 3 sons to 3 rooms. He gave each son a room that has the same area, and he instructed them to make the most proper use of the room, and whoever can make the most proper use will be appointed as the next king.
头一个囝咧，在迄间房间囥啊拢宝贵的迄个珠宝啦，金银财宝拢囥啊平满满。
The first son entered the room, and he filled the room with all the precious stones and gold.
第二个囝咧，就甲迄间房间咧囥啊册簿囥啊满满满。
And the second son filled the room with all the books.
第三个囝呢，什么物件拢无藏，敢若摕一支蜡烛来，蜡烛甲迄蜡烛迄点刀，迄个光甲迄个房间照甲光。
And the third son brought nothing. He brought only a candle with him. And he lighted the candle and put the candle on the floor, and the brightness from the candle reached every single part of the room.
结果这个国王呢，选迄个第三囝做继承人。
And as a result, the king chose the third son as his successor.
因为伊认为这个囡仔上有智慧。
Because he thought that the third son has the most wisdom of the three.
还佫上公平。
And the brightest of them.
咱来看下一章就要做一个结论这个是一张这个是咱看这个是一个毛笔字。
We can see that this is the word written by the Chinese brush, the calligraphy made using the Chinese brush.
咱来看迄个倒手边下骹遐有4字，只能啥5字，写活有师尊书，就是讲这个是济公老师来的时阵来结缘的时阵写的。咱看迄个这个左下方倒手边下骹有写5字写佛师尊书。意思就是讲，这个是济公老师来结缘的时阵写的。
So on the bottom left, we can see 4 words. 活佛师尊书 means that it was written by our Jikong Buddha when he came to our temple.
这张字真大字啦，我是用回头用合上的，不过咱来看会出来这个字写了是写了真水是迄个真佛来结缘的时阵天才用棉花运迄个木石再写迄个毛笔字的纸顶悬写2字毋知咱摇会出来无？这2字毋知咱摇会出来无？摇袂出来
This calligraphy has already been put into a frame, and it is a very big frame. And these 2 words were the words by our Jikong Buddha that he used a holy medium to use cotton. He put cotton into the ink and then wrote this on the piece of paper.
伊阵结缘的时阵，拢总写3张。
During that time when Jikong Buddha visited the temple, he wrote 3 calligraphies.
一张叫做光明，写2字光明，拢写2字啊，光明，一张是光明。
The first one was written, 2 words were written, and it was 光明。
第2张是叫做成明，天行的行明白的明，成明。
The second one, also 2 words were written. They were 成明, meaning sincerity.
嘿对第三张就是这张叫做明透，下骹这字叫做透啦，透明 transparent 迄个透。
So the third one was also 2 words, and it was and Ming To was written, meaning very transparent and illuminating.
咱若物件要透咱代志就要看互透眼光若要看互透咧，就是爱空，咱才看会透。咱若参像拄啊迄2个一个房间摆甲拢总是迄个珠宝，一间房间摆甲拢总是册本，咱看会明，看会透无？看袂透。
So if we want to see transparency, it has to be very clear and empty. So just like the 2 rooms that the 2 sons prepared, that they filled the room with all the precious stones and gold, and the second filled it with book. So when the room is filled, it is already not transparent, and we can never see through it.
敢若空以后透以后咧，咱才有法度通，才有法度悟。
it is only when there is emptiness or voidness that we can realize and understand.
我相信这就是迄个国王吼，要选立第三者做伊的继承人的原因之一。
And that is one of the reasons why the king chose the third son, who put nothing into the room.
那么第三张吼书法呢，是咱基础中只有一次的仙佛借窍，济公老师来写的字，非常宝贵。
And these 3 calligraphies were the only time when our Tikong Buddha came to visit our temple and used a medium in order to write these words for us. And these 3 calligraphies are very precious for us.
那么这两字跟咱讲一篇大道理咯。
And these 2 words will have a great lecture and for us.
那么希望大家吼，今仔踮咧这个一点钟内面，会当体会到太上清净经迄个老祖要甲咱传达的一寡真理。
So with the last hour that we have spent explaining about the Tai Sang Qing Jing Jing, we hope that we can understand the why Lao Tzu has wrote this, because he wanted us to know the true nature and to know our true self.
有法简单讲到这，讲了若无圆满的所在，请老祖下罪。
And our Tian Chuan Sư wants Lao Tzu to forgive her if ever she has said anything wrong.
请各位道请原谅。
And also, we hope that everybody will also pardon her if she has said anything wrong.
祝各位道请大家身体健康，事事如意。
Hope everybody will have a healthy body and that everything that we have wished for may come true.
好，咱今天班就到这，谢谢各位，晚安。
Our lecture tonight will end at this point. Good evening, everyone.